Hello and welcome. It's Alex Mondosian. I have no idea where you're hanging out from, but I want to know. So please, down below, write down your full name and where you're hanging out from. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my lower third so you see the way we do things. And I'd like you, once you start learning how to do Hangouts, do the exact same thing. So right now, you see it says hangoutmarketingtraining.com. That's what I'm promoting now. And just by seeing this lower third on a Hangout, I don't need to mention it. The domain is there. You can check it out. You can see the way a world-class website is delivered. There's video and there's copy. And today we're going to focus on templates. The topic today is templates. And before we begin, we'll allow more people to come in. Viewers are coming in one by one. So right now, just type in your full name and where you're hanging out from. I'm here with, of course, Sandra Bravo. Please unmute yourself, Sandra, and say hello to everyone. You've gotten your webcam so people can finally see you. And are you excited for number 3? You just got your lower third there.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm very excited to be here on live training number 3, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone participate today.
Now, one of the templates I want to work with is acknowledgement. The deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated. Appreciation is also acknowledgement. So when you type in your name and where you're hanging out from, Sandra is going to type it into my chat in this Hangout, and inside this Hangout you will be, again, allowed in about 45 minutes to come in and ask some questions. Now the goal is for you to, number one, have world-class questions, because the better the question, the better the answer. Poor questions lead to poor answers. And so if you have a refined, clear question, then I will give you a world-class answer. I can only go on your question. The question is your responsibility, and the answer is my responsibility. The definition of responsibility is the ability to respond. So somewhere between 45 to 60 minutes from now, I will be allowing you in by giving you the link, and you can come in here and ask questions. Make sure that you mute yourself. This is session number 3, and we're working on web communication secrets. Now, let me go over a very powerful concept. This is not just about copywriting. This is about communication. Now, the quality of my life is determined by the quantity of my trusted relationships. And the quantity of my trusted relationships is determined by the clarity of my communication. Therefore, the clarity of my communication determines the quality of my life. Let me repeat. The quality of my life is determined by the quantity of my trusted relationships, like you. You trust me. You're here. Like Sandra. She trusts me. She's here, co-training with me. The quantity of my trusted relationships is determined by the clarity of my communication. Without clear communication, how can you have trust in a relationship? Therefore, the quality of my life is determined by the clarity of my communication. And in no place are people more sloppy than in communication. There's miscommunication, there's unmet expectation, there's misguided intention, and it's all because there's a lack of clarity in communication. So that's why this is called web communication secrets, not web copywriting secrets, because it's not just about writing, it's about communication. I'm communicating with my tone, I'm communicating with my hands, I'm communicating with my shirt. It says coach here. Here I have a company here run by T. Harv Eker and me. It says click and be free. If you can see it, I don't know if you can see it clearly. Everything's backwards, so it's hard for me to even work on it, but it says here, click and be free. On the back, it says coach, and I believe that a coach is worth 100 teachers, and 100 coaches is worth 1 mentor. So yes, I'm a coach, but I want to be your mentor. How long? For life, in the area of communication. Now, I'm communicating visually, I'm communicating verbally, I'm communicating physically, and so this can turn into a transcript, which can turn into a Facebook post, a LinkedIn post, a Twitter tweet. It could go into a YouTube channel. It's called repurposing, and copywriting is more than just learning how to string words together into sentences, which is a sequencing secret. It's much more than that. It's about having a big picture question that you ask and that you can get answers from the people who follow you. Understanding the question and creating a question is what I want you to spend 80% of your time on. You probably focus 80% of your time finding an answer. I want you to spend 80% of your time identifying and clarifying your question, because the answer only takes about 20%. A problem clearly defined already has the answer inside of it. Are you with me? Yes or no? Okay, that's a question. Yes or yes is not an open-ended question because it's only allowing for one answer. Yes or no is yes or no. Are you with me? Yes or no. Is that clear? So one of the best ways to clarify is to mirror. So you'll hear me repeat. So I repeated what the quality of my life was twice, and you'll hear me repeat your question so that I make sure that you understand it from my point of view, because when you hear a question from somebody else, now you're not the sender or the receiver, you become the observer. And there's really three parts to communication. There's a sender, there's a receiver, and then there is the medium between the sender and the receiver. Now imagine if you had a sender, a receiver, and an observer. That's called a gestalt of marketing. Gestalt therapy is beautiful because you're talking to a chair as if someone is actually there. And so however you want to pronounce that word, the whole concept is the imaginary observer, where you become sender, receiver, and observer, and that is the trifecta or the divine trinity of communication. So when you send something, I want you to send it from the sender's point of view, from the receiver's point of view, as well as the observer's point of view. Now we are about to begin. Sandra, I want you to acknowledge who is here so that I can prepare my presentation. Just let everyone know and acknowledge them. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. We have Korn Ernsterneste saying hello from Johannesburg. And then we have Greg Jarvis. I remember his name being here last week. He is from Johannesburg. And we also have Tim Tide from Kilpriver in South Africa. So welcome, guys. It's really nice to have you here.
And the shy ones never win, okay? Don't play not to lose. Play to win. So let us know where you're from. Now, today's topic is about templates. Templates. And the most basic communication template is the what, why, how template. Now, this is not a template I think I invented, but it's a template I think I've mastered. Now, the what is about the head. The why is about the heart. And the how is about the hands. You see, green is the color of money, the head. The why is about the heart, passion. And then the how is about the hands. It's just black and white. It's either you do it or you don't do it. So what, why, how? Head, heart, hand. Think, feel, do. Once again, what? What's your topic? Why? Why is it relevant and important to your listening audience? How? How do you utilize it so that they can practically use it, which I've been doing? Okay? There's a fourth, which is the what if, and that's the spiritual context. So there's the mental, the emotional, the physical, and the spiritual. I'm only going to talk about the top three, and that is the what, the why, and the how. And the reason I talk about that is I have found learning styles are the best way to teach. So here we have Module 3 of Web Communication Secrets. If you're logged in, it always helps. Remember, you have a one-click, you see my mouse, one click to always bring everything to your iPhone or MP3 player. I have it in chunks so you can listen to it online. I hope you're doing the work. And then, of course, you always have the action guide. And what we're going to start with is the action guide, which is for copywriting templates. Now, these are secrets, and we talk about headlines, audio, email, upsell offers, and limiters. I'm not going to go over everything, but you see, here's the what, the headline, the benefits, the audio scripts, okay? And let me make this page a little bigger so you see it, okay? And I tell you to print the page so it becomes physical, not just virtual. Here's the why. Why is the headline important? To instantly capture the prospect's attention. Why are benefit bullets important? To automatically elicit the prospect's interest. Why are emails important? To cost-effectively trigger prospects to get attention. Why are limiters important? That's the what, okay? Why? To predictably influence the prospect's immediate attention. Now, how? Well, headline, how to, question, testimonial, challenge, if-then, news, okay? These are the types of headlines. How-to headline, question headline, testimonial headline, challenge headline, if-then headline, news headline. Now, I'm not going to go over the details of each, but I'm showing you how I'm teaching because this is something that you already would have assumed and consumed. Benefits. How do you get benefits for what it is that you're selling? Competitive spying. You go to your closest competitors and you spy on them, okay? How do you know what a benefit is? Well, a benefit is what something does. A feature is what something is. A dog has the features of an ear or 2 ears, like a normal dog, 2 eyes, a tail, 4 paws. What does a dog do? A dog loves you unconditionally, so even if your spouse and your kids don't like you anymore that day, your dog will always lick your face and just love you, okay? And then what are other benefit bullets? You can put them on online sales letters, on broadcasts. Emails, okay? What are emails used for? How are they used? Well, affiliate offers, autoresponders, social media marketing. Okay, these are all the different ways emails are used. And here I'm telling you what I'm about to teach you, the what, why, how. Okay, so this is like the table of contents. Limiters, there's a number limit and there's a time limit. There's many other types of limits. But what I do is I handle them one by one. So you should, I'm not going to be shoulding all over you, but you should at this time have already looked at this. So here's a case study. I always use the case method approach. Sample how-to headlines. How to, and then the promise. How to inspire your child to read 2 grades higher. Who is the target audience? Parents. How to be a best-selling author in a crowded marketplace. Who's the target audience? Authors. How to stop smoking permanently in 3 days or less. Who is the target audience? Smokers. Here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to write a how-to headline right now, and I want you to write it down below. Right now, I want you to do that so that you have some time. It's okay to do it in the background. Write a how-to headline, and I want you to write it to how to blank. In other words, how to using the templates that I've shown you in the event. Now, you notice how I'm accelerating. I'm not going to let you off the hook anymore and spoon-feeding you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, there's the food, there's the spoon, now go feed yourself. It's time, okay? You are no longer crawling, you are walking. And then eventually you're going to be running, and then after running, you skip. And skipping is fun, all right? So I want you to write a how-to headline right now. The first 3 we will acknowledge, and we will acknowledge you publicly. And that is my reward if you want to be acknowledged in front of everyone else. Also, that's a joint venture opportunity because everyone is going to know what your topic is. So I want you to write a how-to headline. Sandra, you're going to do the first one, okay? So let's say your how-to headline is for single moms, which you are right now. So for single moms, write a how-to headline. And I want you, that's who the target audience is. So everyone, let me know who your target audience is, and then the how-to, and then the benefit. And that's the easiest way to write a headline. Now, you've already studied Eugene Schwartz from the previous Hangout. You've already studied the headline templates from previous Hangouts. I am sequentially giving you what you need. Today, I told you, is all about templates. So a how-to headline is a template. Now, I'm going to give you time to write that down. Sandra, I'm going to give you time to write it down, so you go ahead and do it in the chat, or you can even do it publicly in front of everyone if you like. Why don't you write it in the chat first, and then I'm going to improve it. Okay, I'm putting her on the spot. So what is a copywriter? What is a copywriter? See, right now I'm spending time so you can write the how-to headline. What is a copywriter? A copywriter is someone who applies psychology. That's what copywriting is, applied psychology. And a copywriter is someone who understands sequencing. It's not about the system. See, when you have a recipe, generally, you have the final product, the cake, it looks beautiful, and then you have the recipe. Now, the recipe is a system, but if it doesn't have a sequence, first you put in the sugar, then you put the butter, then you put the salt, then you put the vanilla, then you put the flour, then you put the this, the that. I'm not a baker. My daughter is, actually, a very good one. And I'm going to give you a link where you can see how good a baker she is later today. So you can see what we do with web communication, because I got her with a TV star, and all I did is I sent it to him, and we'll make sure that I share that with you so you see how fast it happens. I didn't know the gentleman, but I went and I visited him. He let us in, and my daughter got to meet him, and it changed her life. So Sandra, remind me of that when we're ready. But the bottom line is it's all about sequencing. It's not the system that's the solution. It's the sequence that's the solution. So what is a copywriter? A copywriter is someone who applies psychology. It's not a novelist, okay? You are getting to their heart. You're not getting to their head. And then it's all about sequencing, all right? So the templates, you know, what is a template? A template is something you can use again and again and again and again, okay? You have templates of headlines that you can use, 27 of them that are there, again and again. Why is a template important? Because it saves you time and money. And how does a template work? You just model it. That's the what, why, how of a template. There are templates for subject lines, which you have in Web Communication Secrets, templates for frequently asked questions, which you have. Now, my template for FAQs, that's the first thing I start with. Here are my templates. Can I register even if I don't have a product to sell? That's the first question people ask me. Will I get help desk access if I have questions? How soon will I get access to the course material so I can start getting my return on investment? Okay, these are questions that are part of a template. So you need to know your frequently asked questions. You need to know your headlines. You need to know your benefits. So, Sandra, we're going to go with your how-to headline. Tell me your how-to headline, and this is for single moms. What's your how-to headline? Go for it. Unmute yourself.
Oh, I put 3 on the chat. I thought you were going to improve one of those 3 for me.
Okay, well, why don't you read them for me?
Okay. Number 1 is how to be a working single mom.
Okay, so here's the thing that Sandra did. She wrote how to be a working single mom. Now, mum in the U.S. is a champagne. Mum in Australia is a mom. So universally, it should be mom, M-O-M. Mum will only be for Australia, which is a much smaller market. There's more people in California, in the state I live in, than in all of Australia. So the first thing we want to change is the word mum to mom. Now, if you take mom, right, let me show you mom. There's nothing more powerful than a mom, okay? Mom. What happens when you take mom and you look at it upside down? It's wow, okay? That's why I believe we should use mom. But if you take mum and you turn it upside down, you get now, okay? So I prefer wow, because you shouldn't look at problems upside down, which is mom, versus now, which is mum. So the first thing we want to change is mom. Now, that's so Sandra now becomes an observer and a receiver. She's a very good sender, but that's just for Australia. You have to broaden your thinking. So how to be a working single mom. There's no benefit there. Okay, that's a feature. How to juggle work and kids as a single mom. That's better because juggling is a problem. With kids, now we know what kind of mom, right? Because a mom can also have kids that are in their 20s and 30s, not in the home. But a mom that handles kids at school without a dad that's assisting her, that many moms who are single, if they have 2 kids, they will tell you they have 3 kids. The single dad, who's the divorced dad, and then the 2 kids. We all know that. Now, if you ask a father, they'll say, I have 2 kids. If you ask the mom, they say, I have 3 kids. If you're a single mom, I'm sure you know it's true. And my then wife, I'm going through my own divorce and transition, she would probably say that she had 3 children. I've recently grown up. So we have 2 children, right? But when we were married, then she had 3 children. And that's one thing that a single mom can always laugh with other single moms, that the spouse was my 3rd child. But the dad will never say that, right? The dad won't have that humor because moms and dads think differently. And then number 3 is how to earn money as a single mom, okay? Now, let's put all 3 of those in the chat. How to be a working single mom, how to juggle work and kids as a single mom, how to earn money as a single mom. Let's put that in the chat, and when you're ready, tell me you're ready, and then we're going to improve it one by one. I'm going to coach you live. Are you ready?
Yeah, all 3 are in the chat.
All right, so all 3 of those are great headlines, and if you put them together, it would be how to become a working single mom, juggling work and kids, and earning money at the same time. How, not to be, become. Become is a process. Be is an end destination. How to become a working single mom, juggling your work and kids and earning money at the same time. That is putting all 3 together, and that will get you a lot of attention. Now, all I did is I took what Sandra told me. I didn't change anything. I just took what she gave me, and because of my experience, I just made it more powerful. Now, Sandra, what do you think of that? Do you think that's a better headline?
Yeah, I love it. It's wonderful.
Okay. And do you think that you could actually build a business on that, because do you have any experience there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
You do. Okay, so I want you to type in that headline. So you gave me 3 of them. I just improved it in real time, and everyone else can do the same thing. Now, if someone has some how-to headlines, I can do some coaching live a little later on. So that's the reward you'll get. So I'm going to continue. So next, I want to go into one of my favorite sayings, which I look at every single day, and that is this. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. Many of you are in a storm right now. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Vivian Green. Leave it to a woman to write that. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. Why wait for the storm to pass? Dance in the rain. Because guess what's going to happen? The next storm is going to come. Not if, but when. So if you handle life as if, then you're either in a disaster or you're in between disasters. But if you think of life as when, then you know that disasters are going to happen, and they no longer become suffering. They become problems, and pain is inevitable. Suffering isn't optional. So you know that you'll have pain, and if you just undo the layers of pain, inside there's joy. Now, that's a spiritual concept, and many spiritual traditions believe in that. Joy is not something out there. Joy is something in here. This is my belief. And suffering is just removing the layers of pain. Suffering is cumulative pain. Now, if you don't remove the pain one by one sequentially, then you stay in multiple pain. That's called suffering. And the Buddhists say, in fact, Buddha woke up and said 3 words, life is suffering. And that has many, many meanings. In the Buddhism tradition, it means something very different than what most Americans or Judeo-Christian thoughts would be given it. In the East, when you say, hey, where's your mind? In the East, the Far East, they say here. When you ask people in the West, where's your mind? They say here. Well, I'm born in the West. I happen to believe my mind is here. And right now, I think this is connecting with your mind, which I believe is also here. Now, I don't know if you believe that or not. Don't believe a word I say. You've heard me say that again and again. But what I'm doing is I'm sharing my mind with you so that you at least know where I stand so you can agree or disagree with me. All right. So the next step is how to use web communication with your business card, with your name card. Now, I'm going to show you my name card. I'm going to cover my phone number, but here is my name card. It says marketingonline.com. That's my website, where family-centered entrepreneurs turn passions into profits. Now, Marketing Online is my website. All of you have access or will have access to my membership site for a year. That's $1,000 US. You're getting it at no cost because that was part of the bonus. Okay? Now, I don't want you to focus on all my other courses there. I have over $104,000 worth of courses in there. Don't go there. I want you to focus on Web Communication Secrets, because that is the sequence I want you to start with. It's like trying to read every word and every book in a library when you walk in. You look for one book, and the book I want is WCS, or Web Communication Secrets. So look at this card. Look at the elements of this card. I have the tagline, where family-centered entrepreneurs turn passions into profits. And then I have a call to action in the middle. Okay? They can either go to hangoutsrock.com, or they can send me a text in the U.S., and they can text the word gift, and the text number in the U.S. is 415-233-7726. When they do that, I capture their mobile number, or I capture their email address if they go to Hangouts Rock. Now, for every 100 business cards of these that I give out, I end up creating over 100 opt-ins. In fact, I have about 150 opt-ins for every 100 of these I give out. In other words, I have a 1.5 to 1 ratio because people pass the card around. Actually, people are willing to pay me money for my business card. All right? Now, it also has my address, which is down below, right here. Okay? It has my mobile number, which is here. It has my picture so that you can see me at the event. You can see, most people don't know who I am. You know who I am. And then look at what CEO stands for. Chief Engagement Officer. Now, here's the way I do my copy and my communication. The way I do it is I teach people to vote for things. Now, I want you to vote. You'll be the first to vote. So here I have my business card, and I'm going to have people vote on my business card. Now, I'm not having them vote, so I pick which business card I should be using again and again, because I'll go with what they vote for. What I want from them is I want them to tell me, do they want version A, where this is dark, or version B, where the call to action is light. So you pick version A or version B. Now, this is at marketingonline.com/business cards. And I think it's working. And I want you to add a comment, and I want you to share. Now, you'll notice that I have blacked out my mobile number, because that's the last thing I need is people to call my mobile number. But my address is here, and I have everything else here. Now, this is an oversized business card. This is a card that actually Sandra Bravo's cousin, Lucy, and I call her Lucia because she lives in Mexico, she designed for me. And I told her I want my picture. This is web communication. I want my website. I want a call to action. So this is not a call to action. Where family-centered entrepreneurs turn passions into profits, that's not a call to action. That's a tagline. This is the call to action. You can opt in with your email, or you can opt in with your mobile. This is the perfect business card. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this out to my list, and they're going to vote A or B. Now, here's what's so interesting about this. If they want to log in, let me show you. You'll see, if they want to log in to my membership site, okay, then they get to log in, but they need a username and a password. So this is a way to get new members. Okay, if they want to go to the reunion, which is now over, they get to see the reunion, which is over, and we're going to have a new reunion in July, which I want all of you to come to. You're all eligible. You'll be getting that email a few weeks from the time of this recording. And then if they want to see my next Hangout, they click on Hangout on the tab, and then they get to see... Listen carefully. I'm so glad you made it to this web page, because if you're anything like our other members in our Marketing Online community, you're going to enjoy learning from our weekly Google Plus Hangout. Okay, so if you want to join our next Hangout, it's March 7th in the U.S., 12 noon, which is Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. GMT. And look who is going to be on, Doug and Melanie Nelson. Now, you may have been trained through Doug. He's actually going to be on my Hangout. I'm going to teach him Hangouts. If you want to look at past episodes, then you just hit past episodes. But it all came from one place, which is this little tab. Now, I want you to share your big takeaway. Have you learned something? Here I have a page where people are actually voting on my business card. They're going to get opted in here. They're going to give me comments here, which I want you to start doing. And I want you to start using this vote on your own name card or business card. There's some powerful takeaways. Sandra, let me come to you. And you've just seen, what I've asked. What are the big takeaways for you on that piece?
The big takeaway, well, you'd love to get people to vote, like Alex talks about a split test of always taking one or the other, and I love the way that in the teaching that you're doing, you're, getting your own benefit to show something that you're doing, and you're teaching the students to do the same.
And
well as you're giving call to actions, you're inviting them to the Hangout, you're showing them, so they're learning how they can do the same.
And I'm smuggling as well. So here is next week they get to see past episodes. They get to get access to the Hangout marketing training where they can purchase the Hangout marketing training here, right? And so I have all the elements, and I want you to do the exact same thing. They can see the comments. They can start participating. Here you see Sandra. They can get an opt-in here. They can put their G+ profile there. So it's very, very powerful. Sandra, go ahead and mute out when you're typing. So very, very, very powerful. So the business card is very, very important. Next, I want to teach you something which is called the ultimate question. But before we do that, let's get some takeaways. Write down the biggest takeaway, the biggest aha moment you've had so far. I'm going to give you some time to do that. Just type it in below, and then we will start working with some of your headlines. Now, those of you who've written headlines, I'm going to ask you to come in. I'll be coaching you directly in about 20 or 30 minutes, so stay tuned. I'm seeing it in my chat, so hold on to that. I still have more content to go through. But what's your biggest takeaway or aha moment so far? Now, let's talk about the ultimate question. What is the ultimate question? Now, the ultimate question is something that I have never taught publicly, and I want to teach you right now. And I'm going to go to the page where you learn what the ultimate question is. Now, if you went to my blog, which Sandra can type in, it's alexmondosian.com, and then in the search, just type in the ultimate question. So if you want to hear how to do the alexmondosian.com, you can do that, no problem. But I'm typing in all the links in the chat. Now, the ultimate question is a surefire way for good profits and true growth, and asking this question, according to Fred Reichheld, he's the author, he wrote a 300-page plus book, and I just pared it down to one simple question and one simple page. When you ask the ultimate question to customers, and all you need is one customer, you can acquire your company's Net Promoter Score. Now, by getting a Net Promoter Score, you will discover how leading business organizations can transform ordinary customers into promoters. People are promoting you. So here is the ultimate question. Now, the ultimate question happens the moment you get an order. So whether they paid $1 or they paid $1,000, you can ask it physically or you can ask it virtually. But here is the ultimate question, and I want you to take notes and you'll have the replay. The ultimate question is, let me go a little bigger so you see the way this works. The ultimate question is, how likely is it that you would recommend, and then you put your product. How likely is it that you would recommend WCS, or Web Communication Secrets, to friends or colleagues? So that's the ultimate question. Companies like AT&T, a telecommunications company, does this. Companies like Dell Computer here in the U.S. does this. Costco, if you have Costco where you live, you may not because you're of course in South Africa, but major companies use this. Now the goal is the Net Promoter Score. So how likely is it that you would recommend, and then put in your product name, there's the template, to friends and colleagues. Okay, from 0, which means not likely at all, to 10, which is extremely likely. Now, if they say 9 or 10, in the U.S., that's called an A. You're getting an A. And getting an A means that that's a promoter. Now, a promoter, for them, when you get a 10 or a 9, they're saying, yeah, it's extremely likely I'll recommend this product. You ask this question: what specifically would you tell someone to get them to try Web Communication Secrets? So I'm going to ask you the ultimate question. All of you. How likely is it that you would recommend Web Communication Secrets to friends or colleagues if I would pay you $500 per sale? Ah, that changes things, doesn't it? How likely is it that you would recommend Web Communication Secrets, this course, and they wouldn't be getting this. They would only be getting the course, no coaching. And if you were to pay you $500 per sale, okay, on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being extremely likely and 0 being not likely at all. I want you to type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. Okay, and I want you to be honest. Type that in. Okay, I will give you the details of how to get to the business card. I gave the link to the business card in a link that I put for Sandra, and I'll give you that. It's very, very simple. It's marketingonline.com/business cards. It's there. So you can see it, and Sandra will put it in. Let's stick with the ultimate question, though. So I want you to write down, how likely is it for you to promote Web Communication Secrets to a colleague or a friend if you knew that you would get paid for it on a scale of 0 to 10? Now, if you said 9 or 10, then here's the second question. What specifically would you tell them? Like, what specifically would you tell your friend or colleague to get them to go to Web Communication Secrets? Now, for them to go to I have a web page, Web Communication Secrets, which is just the stripped down product. And there's no coaching involved. Okay? So you're getting a lot more for what I'm selling here. But Web Communication Secrets is at Web Communication Secrets. And you'll see that the US dollar amount is less than you paid, is because you're getting more than the stripped down version or the light version. The version that you got is $5,000 US because it involves this coaching, which is really the most expensive thing. So they wouldn't be getting, the big version. You got it at a very low cost, at least for me. Now, the bottom line is, if I paid you $500 US for them to purchase it, what specifically would you tell them? Now, if you can write that in, then I'd love to see what your thoughts are. But that's only if you gave me a 9 or a 10, and that would make you a promoter. Now, if you gave me a 7 or 8, that would be a passive. And if you're a passive, then I would ask you, what would it take for you to rate Web Communication Secrets as a 10? See, I'm not interested in passives. That's not anything I'm interested in. I'm interested in only promoters. So, bottom line is, if you tell me that you are going to be a promoter, then I'm going to ask you this question: what specifically would you tell them to get them to try it? But if you tell me you're a passive, then I'm just going to say, why would you rate it? Why would you rate it? How would you rate it a 10? So here we go. 8 or 7, you're a passive. And the second question you would ask a passive is, what would it take for you to rate Web Communication Secrets a 10? And if you're a passive, tell me, what would it take to rate it a 10? I personally can't do anything more than I'm doing, so you're going to teach me something. I'll have you teach the course, because you're seeing something I can't see, and that's coming from my heart. Now, if I got a 6 down to a 0, I have what's called a detractor. If you go to a dentist and the dentist makes your gums bleed, then you're actually going to tell people not to go there. So the second question that you ask a detractor is, what's the reason or reasons behind your score? That's it. And they're going to tell you their why. Well, you made my gums bleed if you're a dentist. Or if it's for a bookkeeper, well, you didn't keep the books accurately. Or if it's for an executive assistant, you didn't follow through. If it's for a teacher, you weren't clear enough. Or if it's for a parent, you weren't caring enough. Number one reason for divorce is you didn't pay attention to me enough. Okay? So people who are divorced are detractors. Don't marry that person. I tried and it didn't work. People who are in love, right, then they are either passive or promoters. Now, there's a big difference between true love, which is a promoter, and love. Someone who's in love is like, well, I'll tell you the difference between love and true love. Okay? It's the difference between someone who's passive and a promoter. Love is a very big number. True love is infinity. So the difference between love and true love is the difference between a very large number and infinity. Because with infinity, everything bad and good can happen, but you know that there's no end to that until your final breath. With a very big number, there's an end, and sometimes it can end with a divorce. Even most people become friends after divorce. Some people don't. But I'm using personal relationships to show you that there's a difference between a promoter and a passive. Now, here's the paradox of the ultimate question. The paradox of the ultimate question is you ignore the passives because they have no energy. They're like matzah bread, a communion host. There's no leaven. There's no yeast. You can't revive the dead. But you can resurrect the people who are upset with you. The most powerful person in your group is a detractor, someone who does not like you, and someone who ends up loving you because you made good. I have a lot of people who are detractors. For example, I come up on stage and I'm very loving and they see my spirit, and let's say I didn't meet their expectations. That was in their mind. I may have told them 6 times on something that we're going to start Web Communication Secrets in February. In late January, we're going to start the Ultimate Membership Site Challenge in March, April. I said it 6 times on camera, but either they didn't get an email, or they got the email, they didn't read it, or any number of things. But I had every right intention, and they say, Alex, I trusted you, and you have taken me down the wrong direction. They become a detractor. You may be one of them. I have no idea. However, when I have Sandra call everyone up and say, maybe you didn't get the email, or maybe you got the email, you didn't know what to do, or maybe we weren't clear, now you become a promoter. Now Alex has someone who loathed him, L-O-A-T-H-E, loathe, like hate, into loving. And that's what you ultimately want. You want detractors and promoters. It's much easier to turn a detractor into a promoter than a passive into a promoter. So ignore your passives, teach your promoters what to say, and turn your detractors into promoters. And that is the ultimate question. Now, what is your NPS? Your Net Promoter Score. That is the percentage of promoters minus the percentage of detractors. So, if you have, let's say, 100 people, and 100 of them, let's say 60 of them said that you got a 9 or a 10, and they became promoters, and 20 of them, or 20%, said that you got a 0 to a 6. So you have 60% promoter, 20% detractor. Well, 60% minus 20% gives you a 40% Net Promoter Score. Your goal is to increase your Net Promoter Score to as high as possible. Anything over 60% is a good Net Promoter Score. And the goal is not to start high. A goal is to progress. It's never about perfection. It's progress, not perfection. Now, I want to go to Sandra right now and to prepare and unmute. Give me some of the takeaways that people are talking about, and any takeaways that you have, Sandra. You're on the big screen. I'm going to put you on the spot. Go for it.
Thank you. Jim has been participating a lot. He's putting lots of comments, and Celeste and Tim gave you a 10, and then Jim said that I would relate to them. This is when you're asking about your, the ultimate question. I would relate to them a little of what I've learned so far, and also what they would stand to make financially from the knowledge gain. Like, what would they get? I think What
Yes.
would they gain financially from the knowledge?
What's
I'm
your
just
biggest
checking.
takeaway? Was it between love and true love?
Yes, that was my biggest takeaway. I love that. The big number versus infinity. That's, like the whole 99% versus 100% that you teach. The difference between 99% and 100% is 100%. And, it's the same with love. Love is a big number, but true love is infinity. I love that.
And I learned that recently at an event, and I related it to Sandra, because Sandra and I are not only trainers, but we are now formally in relationship, and that's begun just through friendship. So we're bonded not just through training, but we're bonded through relationship as well. And there's a lot of risk with that, because if the relationship doesn't work, what about the business? If the business doesn't work, how does that affect the relationship? So these are things that with your relationships you have to be very, very clear on, and these things are coming up, in our relationship as we build upon that, and as our kids meet each other, etc. So it's very, very important in your personal relationships that you're clear who your promoters are, who the passives are, and who your detractors are. And if you can separate the three, there's nothing good or bad between them. It's just getting clarity, and that clarity is the new productivity, okay? And the new productivity means you have priority. What is the principle of priority? I've said it many times. It's the difference between knowing what's important and knowing what's urgent and doing what's important first, as if you had a few days to live. Okay, in about 10 minutes, I'm going to allow some people in, but before we do, we're going to do our glossary of terms. Remember, we're going over session number 3. I'm going to go over a few words. Each time we're going to go over the glossary of terms, and we're going to start with the F category. So in F, I want you to look at the concept of features and benefits. Now, proven secrets is a feature. Double my profits is a benefit. Triple my time off is a benefit. A feature is what the product is. A benefit is what the product does. So the doesy part is a benefit. The isy part is the feature. Okay? Now, let's go to G. Get to, I'm going to show you, get to agree. Get them to agree. Now, would you notice, and would you at least acknowledge that I'm a pretty agreeable guy? I try to get you to agree and engage. My verb I live into is agree, 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 agree. Remember, it's about progress. That's agreement, not perfection. Perfection is love. Progress is true love. Progress is infinity. Perfection is a big number. Wouldn't you agree? See what I'm doing? Okay, so get them to agree. So what does that mean? Every step is a close. I'm always closing, closing, closing. I'm trying to get you to do something. Nothing is arbitrary. Every syllable, not every word, every syllable, right? That's a one word, close. It's not your fault. That's a 3-word close. You say, thank you, Alex. Okay? Are you in? That's a 3-word close. Every syllable is a purposeful, and purpose is closing the sale. Arbitrariness is distracting because the tight focus of your guidance is lost. Keep focused on purpose. My focus is to engage you to communicate clearly. That's why it's called Web Communication Secrets, which brings me to the I's. Now, where I'm going to go is I've been talking about this word for about a decade, and I've been smuggling it. Now I can talk about it openly. Intimacy. It is essential that you create personal content with your callers. This was for teleseminars, with your viewers, with your listeners. Why? Now, isn't that a close? It's a question of the heart. Why? Because to succeed, you must get them to, number 1, know you. Number 2, like you. And then number 3 is the lubricant to business, trust you. That takes time and connection. You have to be visible That's getting to know you. You have to be credible. That's getting them to like you. And then you have to be profitable, which is trusting you. You can't go to visible and then just leapfrog or jump over credible. It's a sequence. If you go from visible to profitable, it's called VCP. If you go to Google and type in VCP process, you will see what my good friend Ivan Meisner has developed. It's a template, and you can type that in, VCP process, and you can look it up on Google. Well, if you jump frog from visibility to profitability, you end up with irritability, because most people are invisible and they want to be profitable with someone. They say, hey, will you do this for me? And it's too soon. So you have to know, like, trust someone, and that takes time. So intimacy is not perfection. There's no such thing as perfect intimacy. Perfect intimacy is the final breath. Inhale, exhale, and in between you look back and say, that was spectacular. Are you going to do that? That's my goal. Instead of, that was okay. Or if you're on your deathbed, you're not celebrating, you said, I have regrets. What if you're surrounded by legions of people who just showed up and told you how much they love you and what you did for them? What a way to go. So intimacy is a process. It is not perfection. In fact, perfection is a myth. When something is perfect, it's in perfect balance. And what happens when something is in perfect balance? Nothing. Nothing happens in perfect balance. Okay? Let me repeat. When something is perfect, it is in perfect balance. And when something in perfect balance, nothing happens. Balance is bogus. Balance is BS, which in America is called bullshit. That's the colloquial term. Sorry if you think that that's cursing, but that's what it's called. All right? So balance is nothing. What we're looking for is progress. Progress is a process, and process is harmony. Now let's take a relationship. Let's say your partner is giving 90% because you're giving 10%. Your energy is low, your willpower is low. Now, if there's trust, this 90% partner is saying, you know what? When I'm going to give 10%, I trust that my partner is going to give 90. Or if you're a woman, most likely you say, when I'm going to give 50%, my partner is going to give 90. I'm just kidding. So that's a joke. Women, please don't get insulted by that. I'm just a man. I'm just joking about that because women have high expectations of us, and we're not that intelligent as human beings. We're men, okay? We don't gather. We hunt. We're learning how to gather because we are going into this feminine age. Guys, don't let that scare you. That's just, I believe we're going from, transaction to relationship. That's why we are talking this way. Intimacy is in marketing, and marketing is movement. Movement is life, and that's what you want. Movement is a process. Movement is progress. It is about progress, not perfection. Okay? I hope that's a big takeaway for you because it certainly is one for me, and that's why I'm teaching it. And Sandra is smiling, so I hope that it's a big learning experience for her. Let's go to the landing page. A landing page is a page that is the first page that's yours that someone views. Now, it can be an opt-in page where people opt in. It can be a survey page like I showed you with my business card. It usually is where the person arrives following getting some kind of link or a call to action. The landing page can be any one of your pages. It can be a home page, a product page, a registration page. It has some kind of keyword or some kind of headline oriented. When designing a website, okay, any one of your pages has to be viewed first. So make sure that it's clear, simple, and effective navigation because your first-time visitor is different than a return visitor. So your landing page is different than a thank you page. Well, what's a thank you page? Well, let's go down to the T's. I hope you're learning something. I know you're learning something. Now, if you feel overwhelmed, remember, we're recording this. A thank you page is the page after they've taken action on the landing page. This is where you can give a bonus. It's an additional reward. It's the next step after they've taken action. Every action the reader or caller or listener or viewer takes and they leave the landing page. It is the beginning of the closing process. Every action is an investment on their part to know, like, and trust you. It is a tiny yes, a tiny close. Now, here's the big question. I want to do a survey. What's more important, a landing page or a thank you page? If you have to choose between the two, what's more important, landing or thank you? I want you to vote right now. Type it in. Hurry, because we're going to let people in here. Type it in. What's more important, landing or thank you? When people come in, I will answer that question. All right? And then finally, I'm going to give you my 5-step process, and then we're going to allow some people coming in here. Anytime I want to develop a curriculum for web communication secrets, I did this. For my seminars, I do this. Those of you watching right now, along with people from Milan, from Perth, Australia, from Rome, South Africa, where you're watching, and all over the world, you're going to get to come to my membership site intensive July 13th through the 16th in San Diego, California. The web pages are not up, but I'm going to be utilizing everything I'm teaching you. You're going to get to come at no cost. However, there is going to be a fee if you don't show up. So it's going to cost you $100 US if you say you're coming and you don't show up. My cost for you to be there is $250 US. Why? Because you're connected to the internet, because you get a bunch of gifts. That's my cost. Have you already paid for that cost? Yes, you have. But if you say you're not going to show up, your penalty is $100 US, non-refundable. Don't even ask for it back if you don't show up. I don't care what happened. Now, it can be used for the next event, but July 13th through 16th, save the date, and you can ask Sandra all about it. I want you to be in San Diego, California, and just jump for joy, because you're going to learn how to monetize membership sites. And if you're in the membership site challenge, and if you're not, you still have time to join, we're going to give out the membership site marketer of the year, just like we gave out the Hangout marketer of the year. Now, here's my 5-step formula to develop curriculum. Number 1, what's the predicament? We always start with a predicament. You got to sell the predicament. A predicament is a sequence of problems. Problem's not big enough. What's the predicament? Number 2, what's the resolution? So what's the predicament? Well, the predicament is, let's go back to single moms, okay? Now, Sandra, I want you to I want you to say the headline I gave you that added all 3 of those elements. Now, this is very difficult for Sandra because I'm putting her on the spot, but I'm teaching her because she also is doing coaching. So what is your headline? Go for it.
How to become a working single mom, juggling your work and kids and earning money at the same time.
Okay, that's the headline. So if I were to write an ad, here's the predicament. You're a single mom. That is the toughest job in the world. You know what you do. You take care of your children. Then you have your other child, who is that ex-husband. You have your job. You have to juggle the food. You have to pick them up from work, from the babysitters. You have to make their beds. You have to do most of their scolding and reprimanding. You have to be the bad guy or bad gal in the process. It is a thankless job. And above and beyond that, you had to take care of them in your womb for 9.5 months. It was the most painful situation you've ever been in physically. And probably your hubby wasn't around for the first 3 to 6 years because you had the burden of all that responsibility. On top of that, now you have to make a living for yourself because maybe you're not being supported mentally, emotionally, and physically like you would like to be. That is the predicament you're in. So that's the way I would start the ad after her headline. Now, I'm just making this up. It just came from my mind, okay? What's the resolution? Thankfully, fortunately, there is a way, okay? Now, there is a way for you to, and then go ahead, Sandra. What is the how-to? There is a way for you to what?
Way for you to, hold on one second. There is a way for you to make money? Well, you want me to say the whole thing?
No, not how.
There is a way. Tell me.
I want you to give me the benefit, the how-to, get rid of the how-to. Fortunately, I just gave the predicament. Now the resolution. The resolution is, Fortunately, there is a way to, give me the headline again without the how-to.
Become a working single mom, juggling your working kids and earning money at the same time.
Okay, now the third step is why are they stuck? Now you agitate the problem. That's the formula. Now, the reason you haven't found the way is you haven't found the right teacher. You haven't found the right teacher because you haven't been looking. You're too busy taking care of your kids and that other dum-dum that doesn't know what you're doing. That's the husband, right? Or the ex. And then all your friends are gossiping and they're getting in the way and you're not very productive. And what about your life? What about when your kids leave you? You're stuck because you're trying to be productive, but you're multitasking, and multitasking is a myth. You don't have a way and you're stuck and you don't see a way out. You may be knee-deep in debt. That is why they're stuck. So I just went from predicament, after the headline, to resolution. Now I told them why they're stuck. That's the agitating the problem. Now, next is I'm going to teach them the process. Through time-tested, battle-tested, and family-tested research, there is a 5-step process to, and Sandra, give me the benefit again, to
become a working single mom, juggling your working kids and earning money at the same time.
The next action, which is step number 5, is to click this link to get a live free strategy session with us so you can see whether or not our coaching problem, our coaching process is right for you. Now, it depends on your budget. It's going to be somewhere between $0 and $10,000, depending on your needs and your wallet. We have financing because it's all about cash flow. We know you're a single mom. And the most important thing is you get to be part of a community with other single moms who have the exact same problems and the exact same reasons why they feel stuck. That alone is the price of admission. Right now, it costs you nothing. Just take the next physical action, grab your mouse, and get your keyboard and type in your email address and your mobile number, and we will contact you for a live free strategy session. And in so doing, you will find out if this is right for you. We are going to do everything in our power to motivate, influence you, and persuade you to say yes, because we don't want 50% of your continuing education as a single mom. We don't want 75% of your continuing education as a single mom. Sandra, please unmute yourself. How much do we want?
All of it, 100%.
Let me see with your hands.
All of it, 100%.
Okay, this is not new news to you. So, to recap, anytime I start a curriculum, here's the process, including web communication secrets. What's the predicament? What's the resolution? Why are they stuck? What's the process? And what's the next action? And the next action has to be physical. All right, let's let people in and ask their questions, because the formal part is done. We have about 15 minutes to answer questions, and I'm very, very open to takeaways. And Sandra, you can do that right now. Corn Mayor says, takeaway, to follow through. It is never a goal, only the progression of it. Cerneste Mayor says, Rand Afrikaans University, intimacy. Aha! Yes, it is about intimacy. Even academics need more intimacy. Jim says, movement is life. You know, that's my favorite term. Albert Einstein says, nothing happens until something moves. Movement is life. All the invisible things are the things that direct life. Gravity causes movement. You can't see gravity, but you can see the effect. When you see the trees whistling, you can't see the wind, but you can see the effect. When you have true intimacy, you can't see intimacy, but you see the effect. When you have love, you can see love. But when you have true love, which I want you to be truly in love with your customers and clients and patients, that means they're with you infinitely, forever. Fall in love with your customers so they can have true love with you. What does love mean? Expansion. What does fear mean? Contraction. Whether you've read the Course of Miracles or any other spiritual text, I'm saying it from a marketing perspective. I only masquerade as a marketer. I truly am a personal development and human potential teacher. I hope you know that by now. It's too late. You're already in it. You paid for it. This is what you're getting. All right? So come on in here. Click on the link that she just gave you. Jim said, movement is life. Patrick Durkin is here. Patrick said, landing page. Patrick is our Hangout Marketer of the Year. Patrick, you better get your butt in here because I want, I don't know if you have your crown or not, but I want everyone to see why you are the Hangout Marketer of the Year. Jim said, thank you page. Well, here's the answer. The thank you page is more important than the landing page. Why? Because the landing page, no one has taken action. Okay? They're involved. The thank you page, they've taken action. Anyone seeing a thank you page, they're committed. Now, the difference between being committed and being involved is very, very big. Bacon and eggs. The chicken is involved. The pig is committed. That's bacon and eggs, okay? So there's a big, big difference. Passion doesn't produce commitment. Commitment produces passion. So the thank you page is the most important page, and they're the most ignored pages on the net. I want you to look at all your thank you pages and make sure you have testimonials there, you have upsells there, you have the next sequence so that people are coming in. So if you have questions, I'm ready for you. If you have the link that you can come in, all you do is you click on reverse chronological so that you can actually see the link that Sandra is posting. Now, reverse chronological is meaning that you're going to see the most recent links. Now, I'm going to mute you, Jim, as you're coming in. And come on in here. Just come on in. And let's ask some questions. I got 10 more minutes for you. And, Jim, go ahead and unmute yourself. Let's start with your big takeaways. You look great, by the way. I love your background. Unmute, and let's hear what you have to say. Go for it. And I've muted you, so if you know how to unmute, grab your mouse and unmute yourself. We just lost Jim. Darn it. All right, so come on back here. We'll blame that on South Africa. How's that? Okay, Sandra. So do you see any comments I can work with because we're having challenges, people coming in here? Maybe they need to click on reverse chronological.
No, I don't, but if you want me to share my screen so I can show them where the link is?
Yes. Go ahead and share your screen. There's Patrick. Okay, so Patrick, now Patrick never has a bad hair day. I want you to look at Patrick. When he takes a shower, it takes him less time to prepare for a hangout than it does for me.
Hello and welcome. It's Alex Mondos here.
And go ahead and mute that other screen out. You're the Hangout Marketer of the Year. Thank you. And Patrick, we see the snow in the background. I love that background. Tell everyone what that experience was like and what's your biggest takeaway for today, because you're talking to the South Africans today, and you are not in South Africa, obviously. Look at the snow in the background. Go for it. You're up.
Yeah, it's definitely chilly here in Boston, and I'm staying inside right by my screen, and I may as well be in Florida because I got a nice wood stove in the other room, and I'm keeping nice and toasty. So takeaways from today, God, there's so many hours. I just started diving into this course and realizing what level you're really letting us into. I mean, I just keep building a list of all the resources you're giving me and putting things that I want my team to help me implement, things that I'm going to work on myself. One of my favorites today is I've always watched the way you engage your tribe. You ask your audience, like with your business card, and I've never known how to do that. And so now there's just a really simple way, and I can actually imagine taking what you've taught us today and setting up a page where we can ask our tribe to vote on a regular basis. So today it's business cards, and next week it's something about our product or something else. So I'm loving tools like that, and I just see how a couple of months from now my business is just not going to look anything like it's looked in the past. So I'm really excited to be doing this, and I'm frankly prioritizing it as the most important thing in my business right now is to learn these skills from you.
Well, Patrick is the Hangout Marketer of the Year. What that makes him is a ambassador. He has been gifted the Membership Site Challenge, which is a $20,000 gift. I want you to take 60 seconds and tell everyone why you would recommend to friends and colleagues to come to the Membership Site Intensive, and you aim to be the Membership Site Marketer of the Year as well. Tell them why it pays to travel 12,000 miles and take a vacation in beautiful San Diego, California in their winter time, because in July it's summer in San Diego. Go for it.
Well, Alex, there's so many reasons that I could answer a question like that, but I'm going to go with one of the top that I think will make a difference for people having just spent some time with you in San Diego. It's for the people that you meet. The quality of the people at the Hangout Marketing Challenge are such that I have a stack right here on my desk of business cards of people that I met there who I am hanging out with and creating joint ventures with and in communication with. There was somebody there who wanted to she wanted to book 3 guests on her radio show, and I was sitting on the other side of the room going, man, I got to get on some radio shows. And so we did a show yesterday. And so the quality of the people is the number one. But learning from you is always fantastic. It just can't get enough of that. And then on a long-term basis, I can't wait to have a membership site. Like, I can't wait to replicate my content and present it to the world in such a way that people can keep consuming it on an ongoing basis and I can really be serving them. And also, I don't have to be working in the business answering all the questions that I'm answering now.
Thank you for that. And you're one of the few Americans who are, and you're getting video bombed in the background with cars and people walking, and I love it because we're a live hangout. And one of the things I'm very proud of is that you got your son involved, just like I did at the Hangout Marketing Intensive and Reunion, and spend about 15 seconds and we'll go to the next person hanging out. What was that like?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, I've got my whole family involved in Hangout Marketing, and I got my 11-year-old in taking some of the lessons with me, and he's showing me when I can't figure things out. There's nothing like an 11-year-old kid to say this is easy. And I've actually taught James. I asked him if he wanted to be an executive coach, and he said, "No, Dad, that doesn't sound like fun." I said, "Well, can I tell you what that means?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, you sit in the massage chair over there with my iPhone, and you play games, and you watch me work. And when I start making something complicated, you say, 'Dad, you're making it complicated. You could make it easier by doing this.'" And then that's what you get paid the big bucks for. So my son's hanging out with me. We're doing all sorts of fun stuff, and I'm just really, really thankful to be having this experience and sharing it with my family.
Well, thank you for staying in the heat, outside of the cold. Go ahead and mute yourself. We're going to go to Jim. Jim, let's give this another try. Unmute yourself. And your question or takeaways, I'm open to either one. You're still muted, so make sure your microphone is unmuted. You're unmuted in the Hangout, but you're muted somehow with your microphone. And if it continues, you can always write your question. Go ahead and give it a shot. You're still muted again. So you figure that one out. Go ahead and type your question in the chat. I'm going to go to Nancy. Nancy, let's give it a shot. Unmute yourself. You're still muted. You're muted. If you can hear me, unmute yourself. So take your mouse and unmute.
Yes, now? Now, yes?
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I just arrived from home, and that's why I'm late. Sorry for my English. I'm trying to follow. I need to learn about membership website because from last year when I've been in Rome, that's the idea. Therefore, I'm trying to put cookmember.com online on the company. The web page is almost done for a friend of me, but I need to learn about this. That's why I'm doing your course.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Go ahead and mute yourself.
Yes, I want to hear from you and learn things because I don't know much about these things, okay?
Yeah, and remember, progress, not perfection. So you come back to the same page and you see the other Hangouts, okay?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Go ahead and mute yourself out, and I will mute too. Now, Jim has shared, you cannot steer a parked car. And I definitely do believe in that. Jim, if you what you do is on the left-hand side, there's a blue icon that says chat. Type in your question in the chat, and then that way you can have me ask the question because I want to make sure we get a question from you before we end this Hangout. Now, I'm going to show you Sandra's page. You see that we have almost 700 comments, and it says social ranking, chronological, reverse chronological. Always go with reverse chronological. I think it is the default. And you see Jim's takeaway. You cannot steer a parked car. Now, I'm going to give you a little metaphor. First of all, the head. That's the steering wheel. What direction to go? The heart. That's the accelerator. That's going fast and slow. And then the hands, okay, that is the GPS, or, you know, which direction to go. Now, you can't steer a parked car, meaning you can't start with your head. Most people try to start here. You can't. You have to start with your heart. Everything is energy. Energy is everything. Nothing happens until something moves. Nothing happens until something is exposed, is what I say. So start with the accelerator, and it's scary because once you start moving, then you got to use your head. Which direction do I go? And if you have a GPS, which are your hands, that's where I come in. I am your human GPS. And you just have to trust that I know what I'm talking about. Why do I know what I'm talking about? Because I've made more mistakes than you have. Every discovery I've made is by mistake. I know what is by eliminating what isn't. And that's what's earned me the right. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of mistakes so you don't have to make them. 90%, actually 92% of the things I do not work sustainably. What I'm giving you is the 8% that does work, and that's why you paid for this course. Otherwise, you can go to Google and get everything I've taught you. And I hope that you are appreciating that you go back and you're not the same person and you get new distinctions in that process as Patrick has declared. Now, Jim says, I'm having difficulty getting my mic to work. Well, I'm going to tell you an unarguable truth. Thank you for stating the obvious. Now that that's an unarguable truth, I want you to type your question in the chat so before we leave, I can at least express what is your question. Now, Patrick, I'm going to bring you on, and you go ahead and express verbally what you were about to say. Go for it.
So I clicked through on the link earlier to get on this page. Well, how do we say this? I clicked through to watch this on Google+, and when it didn't seem to be catching up with the live event quickly enough, I clicked over to YouTube and I was watching there. And when you were prompting us to answer questions, I was typing in the YouTube page, as were a number of other people. And so you put things out like, ask us for your headlines and that kind of stuff. And I felt like, geez, I was the first one to post that. Alex will be calling me in the Hangout later to work on my headline. And then, it dawned on me, because I have enough experience as the Hangout Marketer of the Year, still learning lots of tips and tricks.
So I was
there you go, somebody listening on another page. So I, then I came over to the Google Plus page and saw where Sandra was commenting regularly. And I'm just wondering about, as hosts and people who are engaging our tribes, whether there's a way to minimize that, make it a little easier on people.
Well, I'm going to go back. It's about progress, not perfection. So it's intended to be synced on the Google Hangout page, and we're doing things that no one else is doing, so therefore we're going to get ridiculed and we're going to be violently opposed. Now, you found a way to get to the YouTube page, which is a simulcast, and there's no one monitoring the YouTube page. However, you have just given us, I had no idea that was happening. That was a blind spot. So now there's a conversation that people are probably judging me that, hey, I'm not engaging with you because I don't even know you exist. So please forgive my blind spots. It won't happen again. When people say you get one chance, that doesn't mean that you get one chance and you're done. That means you get one chance for forgiveness. So this is my one chance. We're going to have someone monitor the YouTube channel, which Sandra is going to play double time, go back and forth, in case we're not synced properly. We are communicating 12,000 miles away. This was not possible 5 years ago. We are performing miracles, and my biggest irritation with a miracle is we take it for granted 3 months after we learn how to do it. So, Patrick, thank you for bringing that to our consciousness. You are an ambassador, and you have just given me loads of havoc off of my plate because I just have uncovered a blind spot. Now, I'm going to declare this to everyone. At the time of this recording, I'm in the midst of a family transition, and that has prompted a lot of changes with my company. So what's happened is a lot of people who were with me are no longer with me for their own reasons. And so I'm going to do a video saying, people were doing certain things, and I don't know what they didn't do and what they did do, but the people who were with me are no longer with me, many of them. And so if you've been responding to us in the last 2 weeks, we're just getting caught up. And if you want to see two people who haven't gotten sleep and are wearing makeup under their eyes, it's Sandra and me. So please be forgiving. We will catch up, and we're looking for A players. And we are interviewing folks, and the most important thing is with engagement and engagers. So, Patrick, if you'd like to, here's the first thing I say is, that's a great idea. You're in charge. That's a template. Great idea. You're in charge. So if you would like to take charge of YouTube and you can make it to these Hangouts, you have the schedule, you're on. If you can't, let me know. And the reason I do it is because, number one, for me, it won't cost me anything. Number two, you will learn through experience, because experience is not the best teacher. Experience is the only teacher. And most important, you found the observation. You discovered it. So there's a reason for that. And I believe in sacred geometry. That's divine intervention somehow. So you've just uncovered a blind spot, and the last thing Sandra needs is to monitor the YouTube channel. So I will find someone if it can't be you. I'm not putting you on the spot. But I just learned something new, that it is on the YouTube channel live. It is synced, but it may not be synced on our page because our page is not owned by Google. So we have secondary priority. YouTube is owned by Google. It has primary priority, and it is not synced, as there's less of a time delay. So that's what I have to say to that, and I hope that makes sense. We're going to do the final word, which is the final word that you believe should be demonstrating what this Hangout was all about and why that's your final word. Jim asked, was I correct in picking up that your how-to statement, when perfected, becomes part of your resolution of the next action? The answer is yes. How to, and then the benefit. The next action is the first step in the sequence to get the full picture. See, what I do is when I'm enrolling people, engaging people, I never leave out the how. Many trainers leave out the how, and in order to get the how, you have to buy from them. I always give them the how in a slice of my training. So if I have, let's say, 5 strategies, I go what, why, how, deep with one, and I say, if you want the other 4, I've given you 20% for free. If you want the other 4, you got to buy. But I don't have time for the other 4. So that's the way I train. Now, some people disagree with me completely, and they do much better than me financially. But that's the way I do it, because I think that's the highest form of intimacy. I will tell you, the more intimate you are in public, the more people will hate you if there's an unmet expectation or a thwarted intention or miscommunication, because they put so much faith in you that you have turned, whatever the projection is, you have let them down, and all of a sudden someone turns on you. Like, for example, our $100 refunds we were giving for our most recent reunion and intensive, the person who was in transition was handling that, and we're giving away, we're paying back almost 100 people $100 at a time. Well, that person didn't do that job because she transitioned. That was her choice. And so there was about a week delay. In the week delay, as in W-E-E-K, I got responses back after pouring my heart out for 2.5 days, like, how dare you, Alex? I can't believe it, Alex. Oh my gosh, Alex, I trusted you and you let me down. Now, that is a compliment, because I've gotten so into their heart. They are so disappointed. All I got to do is take them from detractor to promoter, saying, forgive me, the person handling it is no longer with me. We're getting to it as fast as we can. I am taking time away from my sleep, as is Sandra, and we'll get it to you as promised. We told you that it's going to take 10 business days, and this is why we said it. We got it to you in 5. So please forgive us. And many times they're embarrassed for their behavior, but I'd rather them be embarrassed than me, because I can forgive them for that. So know that the more intimate you are, you have to pay a price, because they will hate you more because they've loved you more. So basically, it's a double-edged sword. The more they love you, the more they're potentially going to hate you. It's the same thing. But if they're indifferent to you, that's life's greatest tragedy. I am not afraid of people loathing me or loving me. I am afraid of people ignoring me. That is life's greatest tragedy: indifference, pretending to play. Refusing to play, even playing not to win, is not nearly as bad. is pretending. And, not knowing what to do and not doing is not doing, and basically not knowing what to do. To know and to do not is not to do. That's a Chinese proverb. Okay? To know and not to do is not to know, because you are behaving, and behavior never lies. Taking action is how you are judged. Okay? Now, great leaders in the past were other things than what they actually did. One gentleman was a painter. He failed. So he decided to take on another lifestyle, and as a result, he exterminated an entire population. Now, you can guess at who that is, but he wasn't German, but he made a lot of havoc. There are people in history who have taken out a lot of other people because they decided to take another path. They could have taken the path of love and expansion, but they took that same energy and they took it with contraction. You can judge that any way you want. All I'm saying is there's hope if you have a detractor in your life. There is no hope if you have a passive in your life. You cannot resurrect the dead, but you can give new birth to someone who detracts from you. And that's what I'm asking you to look at. I'm ready. I got my warrior bandana on for the people who don't like me. Okay? The key is to keep people from who can't stand you apart from the people who are still undecided. That's the key to life right there. Okay, so let's do final word. Final word from Heather is powerful. And let's go to, I think it's corn, C-O-R-N-E. What's the final word for you? I'll unmute yourself. Final word. Don't think you're going to be hiding over there. I see you guys. Unmute yourself. Let's hope you can do it. The pressure's on.
There we go.
Final word. Yes.
Final was definitely impressed, and I agree that it's very powerful, and thankfulness at the moment from what you guys are teaching us, and we've got so much to learn, and it's only been the second session. So thank you and well done. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I think for me.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. For me, it's just some of the profound things that you were talking about was what is intimacy, and also how when you actually have the 5 steps and you see how it lays out, you could see how simple it is, really, and how it could be applied to any business and any product and any service. Which is wonderful if you're in the dark and you have passion for something, but you have no idea of how to apply it. So, wow, awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Patrick, final word for you.
Access. The final word is access, Alice. I love the way you're letting us behind the scenes and teaching us to use the same things you're using. It's awesome.
Thank you. Nancy says final word is gratitude. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. By the way, everybody, this is session number 3. So go back and look at the other 2 sessions. They're recorded and they're on this page, and Sandra can get you to that. Sandra, what's your final word?
My final word is love. I think Alex loves teaching so much that he's even giving you an extra half an hour today.
My final word is true love. It's 2 words. I'm breaking the rules because I believe in the infinite. So that is not plussing Sandra. I'm just telling you something that I believe in, and I think she believes the same thing. So I thank you. I hope our paths will cross again. Please go back and review these trainings because they give action, and they give vibration, and they give essence to the actual course. And you can go back to this again and again and again and learn from it. So I want to exceed your expectations. Remember, behavior never lies. So it's not a matter of who you are. It's a matter of what you do. All good wishes, everybody. And I will see you next time. I hope our paths cross again for the next Hangout. Bye-bye for now.